Good afternoon and welcome. I would like to introduce our dean. John Corvino is the second dean of the Irvin D. Reid Honors College, having succeeded founding dean Jerry Herron in June 2018. He is also a professor in the Wayne State Philosophy Department, which he joined in 1998, and where he served as the department chair from 2012 to 2017. Dean Corvino is the author of dozens of articles and book chapters, as well as 3 books from Oxford University Press. In addition, he is an active public philosopher, having written for the New York Times, the Detroit Free Press, the New Republic, Slate, Salon, and other popular venues. He is the recipient of several teaching awards, including a 2006 Wayne State University President's Award for Excellence in Teaching, and a 2012 Distinguished Professor of the Year Award from the President's Council of the State Universities of Michigan. He has also lectured at over 250 campuses around the globe, including in the last 2 years, Cambridge University, Harvard University, Princeton University, MIT, and dozens of others. Please join me in welcoming Dean John Corvino.
Thank you very much and welcome. Good afternoon. How many of you, by a show of hands, are visiting the Wayne State campus for your first time? Well, welcome. It's nice to see you here. Also, by a show of hands, how many of you, except for sporting events in the last year, is this your first time in the city of Detroit within the last year, except for sporting events? A few of you? Okay, that's great. It's interesting to me as somebody who has been at the university for 21 years. As Jasmine mentioned, I came to the philosophy department in 1998. But when I first came to Wayne State in 1998, there was a very different narrative about Detroit. Students would come to campus and their parents would tell them, now when you're done with class, you get in the car, you lock the door, and you come straight home. And that's changed. Our students are exploring the city more. People around Metro Detroit are exploring the city more. And even as I travel across the country, I hear more people expressing a renewed interest and excitement about the city. Now, not everyone has gotten on board with that. Not long ago, I was in New York. I was at a party, having a conversation with somebody. He said, "Where are you from?" I said, "Detroit." He said, but where are you really from?" I said, "Detroit." He said, "Yes, but what part? Royal Oak, Birmingham, what part of Detroit?" "The Detroit part of Detroit." And he said, "Really? I didn't think anyone lived in Detroit." And I said, "Well, actually, there are about 750,000 people who live in the city of Detroit." And then he turned to me and said, "Well, you must be a real pioneer." I wanted to say, "Well, you must not be very bright. I just said to you that 750,000 people live in the city. That doesn't make me a pioneer." And when I came here 21 years ago, there were about 1 million people living in the city. You're not a pioneer for moving into a city where 1 million people already live. But there are interesting assumptions there. Assumptions about economic class, about race, really about who counts when we count a city, when we look at a city. Now, why do I mention all of this today? Well, the Honors College at Wayne State University has long been rooted in the city of Detroit. Now, you might say to me, how could it have long been rooted? The Honors College is only 10 years old, and that's true. The Irvin D. Reid Honors College is a decade old. But before we had the Honors College, we had the Honors Program. Before we had the Honors Program, years ago, we had something called Monteith College. There is a long history of honors education here in the city of Detroit, and there is a long history of Wayne State University engaging with that city. In fact, 150-year history. Last year, we celebrated our sesquicentennial. And I'm going to keep using that word because it took me about 2 years to learn how to pronounce it, sesquicentennial. That means we've been around for 150 years. And it's interesting to me now You know the city is cool because as you drive up and down Woodward, you see all these other campuses putting up banners, that they've got the satellite campuses here. And they can put up banners, they can even rent space and teach courses in the city. But we're here, and we have a major research university right here that has been engaged with the city and building relationships in the city for 150 years. That's one way that we are engaged with the city. There's another way that our college is engaged with the city, in that it's part of our curriculum. The first required course that honor students take. Now, there are not a lot of specifically required courses for honors. There are a lot of different options. But one course we do require for all university honors students is Honors 1000. It's a course about the city. Why do we do that? It's not just because, well, we're here, why not? And by the way, the city is cool, although that's true. It's also because the challenges facing this city are challenges facing our nation and our world. And we are preparing leaders for that nation and world. Think about those challenges. Growing divides between the haves and the have-nots. The challenges that arise from ethnic and religious and racial and political diversity and division. The challenges that come up when we have scarce natural resources that we're trying to distribute fairly. These are questions for Detroit, these are questions for Michigan. Really, they are questions more and more for our world. And by engaging students with those questions in the city of Detroit, we can prepare them better for that world. Finally, I think it's worth noting our connection to the city in terms of the relationships we've built. Relationships with the business community, with the arts community, with the healthcare community. Relationships that allow us to connect our students up with opportunities to prepare them for their career, both in the near term and in the long term. So engagement with the city is a really important part of who we are. And what I want to do today, since you've come down to our campus here in the city, is to tell you a little bit more about who we are. And the way I'm going to do that, I'm just going to spend a few minutes giving you an overview of our college. But the best way for me to do that is not to have you listen to me, but to have you hear from our students who have direct experience from that, direct experience of that. And I've invited a panel of students with diverse majors to talk to you. I'm going to ask them a series of questions to help give you a better flavor of who we are and what we do here. And then I'm going to invite you to ask some questions. And after that's done, we'll take that whole thing will take about 45 minutes, maybe an hour. After all of that is done, we're going to open this up for a kind of mix and mingle. There's a resource fair. You can go outside and across the hall, and various different organizations at the university, various different groups and so on, have tables where you can find out more information about specifically what they do. So let me tell you a little bit about the college. The main thing we are is a community of high-achieving students who pursue majors across the curriculum. Nobody majors in honors. Honors is what we call a co-major. So all of our students actually belong to some other college as well, whether it's liberal arts and sciences, engineering, business, fine arts. They pursue majors across the curriculum. What we try to do is to create a smaller, more intimate community for them that challenges them and meets their needs better as high-achieving students. Our program for university honors consists of the following structure. We have, in the first year, a foundational sequence to help prepare students for their academic career and their career beyond that afterwards. That consists of the course I just mentioned about the city. And then in the winter semester, they will have the opportunity to choose from a variety of different small seminars that are connected thematically with that and also emphasize core skills in writing and research. All of our students take some course in experiential learning. My staff knows I'm getting used to saying experiential learning. I tried to push for the term field learning. I'm a cranky philosopher. I'll tell you a little bit. And my thought is, reading a book is an experience. Listening to a lecture is an experience. All learning is experiential learning. Okay, I get it. But the idea here is that sometimes it's good to get outside of the classroom and engage with things in a more direct way. And so, historically, students have often done that in terms of service learning, where they engage in service projects that more deeply inform them about the world, the city that they are studying. They can also do that by way of undergraduate research, study abroad, internships, different ways of getting outside of the classroom for what we know to be high-impact practices. All of our students take some 4,000 level junior, senior seminar from which they can choose from a variety of topics. And all of them do a senior research project with a faculty mentor, which is important not only for training within their major field of study, but also for the kinds of relationships that will help them get recommendation letters and guidance for their career beyond. All told, they have to do 28 honors credits from among the 120 credits required for graduation. Within that, they have a lot of different options and choices, courses within their major, gen ed courses, and so on. We think this offers a number of advantages to students. The main thing, as I said, is it provides them with a community that challenges them to reach their full potential and gives them the kind of support from fellow high-achieving students. We have dedicated honors advisors. All of our students have advisors within them. Some of them are giving the wave in the back. There they are. They really help our students. You know, our students are high achievers. They're also very ambitious and often want to juggle a bunch of different things. Majors, minors, sometimes double majors, extracurricular activities, research projects, service projects, and so on. Our advisors help them do that, help them build the connections they need to do that, and also figure out their schedules, which can sometimes be a little bit busy given all the things that they do. We have close mentoring by full-time faculty. I've had the opportunity, as Jasmine mentioned, to travel to universities around the country and around the world. And one of the things that strikes me when I go to some of these universities and I sit down and talk to students is that they say to me, yeah, we've got great faculty here, but we don't often have a chance to talk to them. Our students do have that chance. I think that that's true of Wayne State generally, but it's especially true within the Honors College because we make that part and parcel of what we do. There are special scholarship and research opportunities available to honor students. Now, all of you have received some sort of Warrior Scholarship from the university. Congratulations. Congratulations. That's great. And in addition to that, there may be other opportunities, and we encourage you to make sure that you have things filled out properly on your profile at the university so that when these come up, we can match students with the appropriate opportunities. We have, as I've already mentioned, these engaged learning experiences where we take advantage of the city in which we find ourselves. We have something called pre-priority class registration. When I first saw this, I thought it was a typo. I'm like, there's priority class registration, but what's this pre-priority? It's like before priority, but it's actually a thing, right? So you've got athletes have priority, but pre-priority, the idea is that because we know that our students are so ambitious and trying to juggle a bunch of different things, we want to give them the best opportunity available to get the courses that they want and need, and so they have this early opportunity to register. It's interesting to me, you know, I talk to the students sometimes and they tell me, yeah, that's one of the best things about honors. I'm like, that's one of the best things. But then sometimes people ask me, what's the best thing about being dean? And I tell them, I can park wherever I want. And like when you're in a hurry, that's like a big deal. Like when you're trying to juggle your classes, being able to register when you want, that's kind of a big deal. We have special honors floors in the residence halls, and that again helps us to build that more intimate academic community. And of course, with honors, there's a special distinction at graduation, on the degree and on the transcript, which can help graduate schools and employers notice you as you are preparing for those ventures in life. Overall, I would describe us as combining the opportunities, the competitive advantage of being in a major research university with the kind of personal attention you might get at a small liberal arts college. And here in the city of Detroit, that's a very special kind of thing because we have the kind of diversity, we have the kind of range of opportunities and experiences that many research universities can only dream of. We sometimes talk about being a Carnegie One research institution. How many of you heard this, Carnegie One research institution? So the Carnegie Foundation ranks research institutions across the country, and those with the top designation get R1 designation. There are only 3 of those in the state of Michigan. There are only about 10 or 12 that are public institutions in major metropolitan areas. We are one of those, and we take full advantage of that and help our students take full advantage of that. There's a lot more I could say to you, but as I mentioned, I'd rather you hear from our students. You can learn more about us by looking at the flyers we've been giving out, but also by going to our website, honors.wayne.edu. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab that other microphone so that I can move a little bit, or I'm going to have Drew grab the microphone for me so I don't have to trip off the stage. Thank you, Drew. And in the meantime, I'm going to ask our students first to briefly introduce themselves, tell you what their name is, what their major is, where they went to high school.
Okay. Hi, my name is Jasmine. I am this is such a weird mic. I'm an honors biology major. I'm a junior, and
Where'd you go to school?
Oh, yeah, I went to high school in Utica or Sterling Heights, but I grew up here in Detroit, so back home.
Hey everyone, my name is Suresh Irani. I'm also a junior studying public health and public affairs, and I went to high school at North Farmington High School.
Hi, my name is Yvonne Tarakian. I went to Algonac High School. I am a third-year student here at Wayne State. I'm studying sociology honors with university honors as my co-major, and I have a pre-law focus.
Can you guys hear me? Oh. Hi, my name is Salem. I'm a fine arts major, and I went to high school in South Redford at Thurston High School.
Hi, I'm Ashton. I'm a senior this year studying biomedical physics and biology, and I went to high school up in, or near Saginaw at Freeland High School.
Hello, my name is Sophia. I'm a computer science major here. I'm a junior, and I was homeschooled.
My name is Isaac Weiss. I am an instrumental music education major, and as of this week, also a computer science minor. I was privileged to be unschooled K through 12th grade in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Third-year student right now.
Very good. Okay, I'm going to give you one of these. So I'm going to ask you, you don't all have to answer every question, but I want to give you the opportunity if you want to answer these questions. So many of you had multiple opportunities to go to different places. Why did you come to Wayne State, and what's been, in your view, the best part about being here at Wayne State?
I think there are 2 major advantages to being here, both of which I had in mind from the beginning. One is we are far and away the most diverse student body at any university in Michigan, and when you have people from different backgrounds, you have people with different ways of thinking, you have the chance to learn basically things you would never think of yourself. So having that opportunity was a big draw. And then the other thing is we have the city of Detroit with its immense cultural resources. So the Detroit Institute of Art is over there, I think. And if so, then that means that Orchestra Hall, no, am I backwards? Okay, yeah. Then Orchestra Hall with the Detroit Symphony is over there. And you can just walk down there and you can get in free if you're, well, there's different memberships. But having diverse people to interact with and having the city and its cultural resources, those are my 2 main things.
Somebody else want to jump in? Yvonne?
So when I graduated high school, I was dead set on going to medical school. And so it had always been between University of Michigan and Wayne State. And I really wanted to go to Wayne State School of Medicine. And Wayne State did offer me an excellent scholarship, which Michigan did not. And so at the time, it was the perfect opportunity. I've since switched my major. I'm no longer, as you heard when I introduced myself, I am now pre-law, and I'm a sociology major. And that being said, I'm still happy to be here because I was given the opportunity to be exposed to so many different ways of thinking. And my mind, which had begun as very narrow and, short-sighted, expanded. And I was given information that gave me the opportunity to make a more informed decision about where I want to go in my life.
Jasmine?
I would say for me, the main thing was at first I didn't really know where I wanted to go. Like, I got into a lot of places, and my parents did all the campus tours with me. They're like, oh, anywhere would be great for you. You fit in anywhere. But they told me, go wherever you want to go and get lost. So I went to U of M, and I tried to find my way around, and I got lost. I went to Michigan State, and I tried to find my way around, and I got lost. And I ended up calling my parents from both of those and telling them they had to come pick me up because I had no clue where I was going, and I was crying, and I was so sad. I came to Wayne State, and when you first get here, everything feels big. So I got lost. I couldn't find my way around, and there was a student on campus who came up to me and said, hey, you look lost. Do you need any help? And I was like, yeah, I'm trying to find this building. I want to go here. I need to, find somewhere to eat lunch, find somewhere to, find where classes would be. And not only did she show me the campus map, but she ended up showing me to the student center. She showed me where classes would be. She basically took a good 30 minutes out of her day because she said she had nothing to do to help me around campus. And I think that was the campus feel that I was looking for, and I found that here at Wayne State. And I think that's sort of what made the determination for me. So for all students, go get lost and see where you end up.
So the message is get lost. No. But yeah, no, that's a great story. Maybe I can ask, for those of you who haven't answered or still want to answer, or for others who want to answer, specifically about your honors experience here. What has been great? You chose honors. What's been great about that? In a moment, I'm going to ask you what's been challenging, what you maybe didn't expect. But what's been great about that?
My favorite part has been the faculty. My honors experience has been so incredible. All of the honors faculty know me by name and have taken time out of their day and time out of that semester that they were teaching me to, talk to me one-on-one, make sure that I knew that they knew who I was and they valued my concepts and my ideas, and they wanted to connect me to other people. I've had offers for networking, I've had offers for internships, and all of that, all from the honors faculty. The honors faculty aren't in my college. They aren't engineering people, but they still have connections. They still, value my ideas, even if I'm, not in their major or anything. So that has been really amazing to me.
Thanks.
For me, one of the biggest perks of being in honors was that you get to learn with and you get to be around a community of like-minded individuals. So everybody in honors is really trying to excel and trying to exceed expectations of what they do, but they're all doing different things. For example, this whole panel, everybody's a different major. So you're always with people that are kind of striving for greatness, but they're also coming from many different backgrounds, and they're working towards many different goals. So that just kind of helps you learn from them and with them. And that's just something really cool that I found with honors.
Yeah, so like the dean had said earlier, the pre-priority registration is pretty nice. But also, if you end up doing double majors or have a major and a minor and you just kind of need a place to kind of launch out and explore, the Honors College gives you those opportunities early on, and they continue to send them your way. So you get opportunities to go to resource fairs or to have those one-on-one connections with your professors that will actually help drive you down the path that you actually want to go down.
And one final note, I'll try to make this quick.
Sure. Take your time.
So everyone in this room was invited to be part of the Honors College, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So just a show of hands, how many of you feel like through your, through your academic career, you've been surrounded by people who are apathetic and don't necessarily care about school or want to do well? Just a show of hands. Okay. So the first thing that happened, and it happens a little bit later. I joined the honors program, of course, and I've always been one of those people that wanted to do high quality work. And as I went through the honors program, I was placed next to people who wanted to work just as hard as I did. I didn't meet as many apathetic people. I didn't meet people who were just here to get the degree and leave. I met people who wanted to make something of themselves. And I met people who wanted to get something out of their education and not just a scholarship, not just a distinction at graduation. And so I think that that's really important. And it's really important that you're surrounded by people who want to do as well as you do. I'm in a class right now where it's like if you put the most intelligent, competitive students all in one classroom, that's what this course is. And it's been extremely fun, and we all push each other to do well. And I've done my highest quality work because I'm surrounded by people who want to do that high quality work as well.
That actually spurs on another question that we often hear from prospective students who sometimes ask it kind of shyly, so I'll ask it on their behalf. Do you think being in honors is a lot harder? Is it like does it challenge you too much? Is it just going to get in the way of your getting things done so you can get on to what's next?
I think that a lot of what the faculty does is that they take the work that you've done and say, I see in you that you can do better. Try to do better. And they've pushed me to do better than I thought I could do. And that's what my honors peers have done as well. I'm in the same class as Yvonne, and I too have done the highest quality work I've ever done in my entire college career, because the professor looks at you one-on-one and says, I know you can do better. Do better. And you're surrounded by other people who are doing just as well and who are just as brilliant and who are just amazing. And, you're just pushing yourself, and it's not difficult, but it's inspiring. Like, you want to strive to do that. And it's not that someone's putting that task on you and saying, you have to do this or you won't graduate with honors. It's that you're joining this community that's pushing you to better yourself, not only intellectually, but, through service learning. I spent 8 months volunteering in a Detroit public school system teaching robotics to 8 to 10-year-olds. And I would have never done that without the Honors College. But it was one of the most amazing experiences that I've had in my college career.
Something you may or may not have heard about yet is honors options. Outside of the Honors College, in order to earn the number of credits you need, basically you extend your work in a non-honors course. You work with your professor to come up with an extra project or something. That's what I feel is one of the biggest challenges, but also most beneficial things about honors. Yvonne made that incredible point about how you're driven to improve yourself, most of you, that kind of thing. That's where you really get the chance to do that, because you come up with something in your course that you want to learn a whole lot more about that you're not going to get done by the end of the semester or in the normal course, and you say, I want to do an extra project. Can I get honors credit for this? Do the forms and stuff. And then at the end of that, you've accomplished something much more than you would have, and you're a better educated person.
So, keeping it real here, we've been talking about all the benefits of Wayne State, benefits of honors. What are some things that you were worried about, that challenges that you feared, challenges that you've experienced, and how has that worked out? Are there sort of things you wish you had known? What advice would you give with respect to those, maybe?
For me, so when I was a kid, I'm deciding colleges, just in general, I felt like college was this big scary thing, and I was like, it's gonna be really difficult to make friends and get to know people because college is so big, and high school was just 1,000 people, college is 20,000. 27,000. There we go, even better. So one of the things that I found was that being in the honors college, if you do choose to live on campus, being on an honors floor really helps you make friends and get to know people. Because when I lived on my honors floor freshman year, we all were honors students. We all attended the same course Monday mornings or Monday afternoons, and therefore, like, you would see people like again and again. Eventually, you get to know them. So for me, one of the perks, what the challenge was that I felt like it would be difficult to make friends, but honors really made that a lot easier because you got to know people through your courses and also through living in like the same residence hall as them.
Salem?
Thank you. One of my concerns was coming into the program as an arts major. I didn't really think there was going to be a good fit for me because we have this stereotype about STEM majors kind of overtaking these higher intellectual environments. But I think through the Honors 1000 course and now in the PS 1010 course, I've really had the opportunity to not only connect more with my peers, but also my senior lecturers and even Dean Corvino himself. You don't really get that opportunity in other places to, one, talk to those people, but also to have those people, I guess, have a relationship of reciprocity on the intellectual level that you need it. And I think that the college is really good at focusing in on what individual students need. Even me as a fine arts major am branching out into even like writing and things that I can use. I use mathematics and all these other crazy things that I never would have incorporated if I didn't get to have those conversations. And I think I've kind of found what I need for me in that way.
Good, thanks. Jasmine?
I would say for me, what I was afraid of just coming into honors was that the classes were going to be a lot harder. Like, oh, if it's an honors class, it's going to be like IB or AP, and like you're not going to be able to like keep up with all the information. But then I got into a lot of the honors classes, and that was sort of what held me up when I was like sort of not doing well in the class. It was the honors option where you had to go to a different lab that sort of helped me out. Like, we'd be ahead of the class, and then that sort of helped me to learn the exam material, or you had a specific TA or person who was just dedicated to making sure that you were doing well in the class. And I think that was really helpful, just like from the honors perspective of coming in and like making sure that like your hard classes you'll do well in because you can take them as an honors option. And it's sort of a little bit easier, I think, just in my opinion.
Because of the mentoring.
Yeah.
Yvonne? Okay. Well, I was going to say, that actually brings me to what was going to be my next question, is can you talk about some interesting mentoring relationships that you've had with faculty, either for research projects or, for something related to a class or a service project, whatever?
So when I entered Wayne State, my major was psychology. I was pre-med. I was on the pre-med track. I tested out of as many things as I could, so I got really ahead in my coursework, and I didn't have to take a lot of electives. And one of the courses that I took my very first semester was Sociology 2000, and it was an intro to sociology course, and it was a Soc for Pre-Meds learning community. And so I took it because, A, sociology wasn't something I'd gotten to take at my school. My school was very small. It was a Division 5 school. So I was going to be exposed to something new, and I was pre-med. So I thought, okay, this is perfect. And it was a learning community. And in that learning community, there were peer mentors that were assigned about 25 students, and they kind of had to look after those 25 students and keep up with them and help them study and help them to do well in the class. And that was my first honors option. I thought, you know what, this is a cool class. I could do an honors option with this. I need to get some honors credit. And so I approached the professor, who is Dr. Janet Hankin, and I said I'd like to do an honors option. And she looked at me and she said, term paper. I was like, okay, I guess we're going to do a term paper. And now, let's fast forward. I'm in my third year, my second semester of my third year, and I'm also in my second semester of working for Dr. Hankin as a peer mentor in her class. And I am no longer a pre-med major, or pre-med focus. I am a sociology major because of that class and because I had to delve deeper into the discipline that is sociology. And so last time we did this panel, I was talking about my research involving the Affordable Care Act in the state of Michigan. And since then, it's only been a month, now I've switched my research to the concept of intersectionality. And that's still sociology. And so it's constantly changing, constantly moving forward. And I love that. And I had that mentor, Dr. Hankin, who encouraged me to start doing research, then hired me as a peer mentor, and now I get to mentor others. And I've had students who say, can I read the stuff that you've written? I said, I'm not a PhD. I mean, you can't cite it. They said, no, but we want to know what you have to say. And so I get to mentor students and I get to pass that along. And I think that's a really important part of being not only in the Honors College, it's just part of being at this university.
Yeah, going off of the research focus, generally during your senior year, you have to do some sort of project, whether it's research or other types of studies where it's an independent field. And before I had started in the lab that I was in now, I had been in 2 previous labs that just did not click with me, that I didn't like them at all. And I was doing it just because, like, hey, it looks good on a resume, let's go for it. And looking forward, I saw that I had to do research my senior year, and I'm like, there's no way in hell that I'm going to be stuck in these labs for a single year, because that would ruin my senior year. I could not do it. So I looked around, I applied for a couple other programs, and I ended up finding, it's kind of on the side, but it's a barber research program, where it put me through for the summer. I got paid to do research, and I got to explore a field that I had never been exposed to, which was plastic pollution. And I've been in that lab since May, and I am just loving every minute of it. And I would not have gotten to this spot where I actually enjoyed what I was doing without that looming threat of being stuck in a cancer bio research lab for another year.
Very interesting. I want to open this up to the audience for questions, but one other thing I want to make sure we cover, a lot of you have done a lot of work in community engagement, co-curricular, extracurricular activities. Can a few of you just say a little bit about that? Because that is an important part of our experience and an important part of being at Wayne State.
So I actually, my freshman year, I had to take Political Science 1010 my second semester, and at that time, that part of the coursework was finding an issue in Detroit. So we spent the first semester learning about the systemic issues in Detroit and our history, the true history, not the history that everyone is spoon-fed through elementary and high school. That second semester, you took all of those systemic issues, and then you had to find something in the city of Detroit that you wanted to fix. You had to come up with a comprehensive plan for how to fix it. So now I had no idea how comprehensive a problem this was. I said, okay, let's talk about blight. And my group members and I, we got further and further into the actual issue, and we were like, wow, this goes really deep. This is not as simple as just telling people that they can't have blight, And so I got involved with community service at Life Remodeled, and they're located in Southfield, and they actually focus on busting blight in the city of Detroit, not just in downtown, on the downtown area, not just beautifying Woodward Avenue, beautifying the suburbs of Detroit, the massive square mileage that Detroit covers. We are not just Midtown. We are a huge community. And sometimes that's forgotten. So Life Remodeled focuses on revitalizing those areas that have been abandoned or are overgrown or are unsafe. And every year they do an annual cleanup. They do a mass cleanup of one neighborhood. So I volunteered with Life Remodeled. I learned more and more about the process of actually trying to go out and actively change these problems that have built up over the years. So I really enjoyed that experience, and it was something that opened my eyes to an issue that I had no clue about previously.
Thank you. Jasmine?
So just going off of the PS 1010, I decided to focus on education. I was like, I went to Detroit Public Schools, and I always saw like the issues that were there, and I wanted to fix them. But then the project sort of ended. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess no one's like really trying to work with this, but it's got to come back up later. So my junior year, I decided to start an organization called Rising Black Medical Leaders that works to try and bridge the gap between high school students and them coming into college, because we all know, or I guess the parents that have gone to college definitely know how scary it can be your first year. You guys will understand like the difficulties in bridging the gap between what high school was like and what college is going to be like. So I wanted to work on that problem, but that really wasn't enough for me. So when I saw that the DPS water shortage was going on, I decided to create a fundraiser for that. So if any of you guys are interested in a scavenger hunt on April 20th, feel free to come out. But, you know, it's just something that the Honors College sort of put into me that, like, these are issues that you need to fix. You should be using your college time to not only learn, but also to fix issues. And then that sort of came full circle through my junior year.
Thank you. I want to make sure we leave plenty of time for the audience. Do we have a couple microphones out there? Drew has one. We have a microphone out there, and Drew runs fast. So we'd love to hear your questions. And if I'm closer to you, I'll run fast.
Hello. All right. Do you feel like there's a lot of academic pressure on you as an honors student?
Yes, but most of it comes from myself because I place value in being labeled as an honor student. I place value in being a part of this community, and I place value in being grouped in with people like this. And I place value on their title as an honor student. So it more comes from my own, pressure to, live up to the title. Yes, there are like GPA limits, but they aren't like you have to get above an A- or you won't be in the Honors College anymore. Like you have like leeway because they know that, especially like pre-meds who go through weeder courses, they're not going to get perfect grades. So there is leniency. You can talk to your professors and you can talk to the honors faculty and make sure they understand your situation, even if, one class you're not doing great in.
Hi, so I was just kind of wondering, like I'm hearing you guys talk about like all these different volunteer opportunities that you guys do. And some of you guys might even be like participating in other external extracurricular clubs and whatnot. And I was just wondering like how you guys manage your time and whether or not like you feel kind of like, like, oh my gosh, I have to do this, that, all within 24 hours, or is it just kind of like, manageable?
Okay. So I guess it's a general advice question. There's just your college life and the things that you have to do while you're here, but there's also you, and you are very important, and you do have to choose your health and the things that you also like to do in accordance with your college schedule. So we were talking about that, and we had a meeting or a dinner with Dean Corvino, and we were talking amongst one of our affinity groups on how to balance life and how to balance college. And you have to realize also that you will still be there after college ends. So while it is a good time to kind of take advantage of the opportunities that the college provides and that you kind of cultivate yourself, you also have to remember that you're important too.
I think just to build off of that, that's the kind of a concern I had as well coming into college, that, like, there's so much to do, how can I do it all? And there are so many opportunities, so many resources, so many extracurricular, like, clubs and things you can be a part of that nobody could feasibly do too many. So really for me, the way I approached it was I kind of chose a couple extracurricular clubs that I was really invested in and really interested in, and I kind of invested my time in those. But I also made sure that, like, obviously academics is the first priority. I made sure I still have a social life, and also made sure I have time to sleep. So I kind of, there's so much going on, you can't do it all. So just kind of choosing your battles and making sure that you're not putting too much on your plate. I think that takes time and practice, but I think eventually it works itself out.
While we're talking about extracurricular activities, you were in my office yesterday. We were talking a little bit about the STEAM Challenge and Optimize Wayne. Neither of those are specifically Honors College challenges, but they are things where Honors College students tend to really rock and blow it out of the water. Would you say a little bit about those?
So I'm working currently this year on with Optimize Wayne. Optimize Wayne is a student organization at Wayne State University. It's run 100% by students, and the goal is to kind of foster social innovation at Wayne State. So what social innovation is thinking outside the box, but doing so in a way that benefits the community and benefits the people at Wayne State. So what we do is we run like a 5-month-long challenge where students will come in with just an idea. So it's an idea of how they want to change the world. And what they'll do is we'll develop their idea and make it into something tangible. So last year, our winning team, and at the end they get to win up to $20,000 in funding from us. So last year the winning team was Detroit Feedback Loop, which is an organization that takes like unused food from campus events, from local restaurants, and donates it to homeless shelters, because they noticed that there is a massive kind of break between like the haves and the have-nots, and there's a lot of food waste and a lot of hunger in Detroit. So they managed to bridge that gap, and that's just one of many student orgs that were founded by honors students, and that's just one that I'm really involved in.
One note that I would like to make, I think that we haven't really touched on, because we're talking about the, the academics and the extracurriculars. So before I came to Wayne State, I actually had offers from all over the country to swim. I've been a swimmer since I was 8 years old. I loved swimming, and we haven't really talked about sports. So how many people here are interested in playing varsity sports, or at least intramural sports at Wayne State? Or are you in sports now? If you're in a sport now, raise your hand. In high school, you're in a sport.
A lot of people.
Right.
A lot of people.
So one of the things that I really wanted to do is I wanted to swim. I just, unfortunately, was not good enough to swim for Wayne State. Wayne State has an excellent swim program. And so one of my extracurriculars, even though it's not through Wayne State, I do several service organizations at Wayne State. One of the other things that I became a part of was a national organization called U.S. Masters Swimming. And so I drive to Grosse Pointe, and I swim for the Grosse Pointe Gators on their Masters team. And I have grown as a swimmer, and it's kind of my break from, I work 25 hours a week. I'm also a peer mentor. I take a full course load, and then I go and swim. And now I am a national qualifier, and I'm going to be going to U.S. Masters Nationals in April. And I think it's really important, because staying active in college is a very vital part. And some people will choose to go to a smaller university because they get to play a sport, and they have less opportunity at other universities than they have here, because we are a Tier 1 research university. So I think that's important.
Thanks. Other questions? Yep.
Okay, so I have a question specifically regarding the arts in the Honors College. So how would you say the Honors College, benefits, your pursuing of the arts?
Well, can you hold the mic? I had a question back. Are you a design or are you a fine artist? Do you have a preference or a difference?
Well, I want to go into film specifically.
Okay. Honors has opened up connections for me among my mentors, as far as people that I can talk to and people that I gain influences from. But I guess the main thing for me as an artist is the intellectual, premise or backing. I noticed that when I had to take Honors 1000, a lot of the things that were said about the city and the history also bounced off back of my work. So it actually influenced me to create a larger catalog of things to pull from in a way that I guess we don't normally think about it, but for me, it's mostly an experience of combining intellectual thinking, which are the characteristics of being a fine artist, and actually going out and do the art, and which I find that a lot of professors are very supportive of, because it's not really an option, especially if you're thinking about going to art school. Those things may not happen until you're in your last year, in your master's year. But if you want to talk more about that, I'll be here after. So, yeah.
Yeah. And, Salem had mentioned a few minutes ago about a dinner we had recently. It was after going to the Detroit Film Theater, which way did we say? Right across the street that way. Sorry, I get lost in this room. Right across the street that way in the Detroit Institute of Arts. And one of the cool things about being in Detroit is having access to some of the arts institutions that surround the campus. Isaac, did you want to weigh in? You're another student in the arts, so I thought maybe you wanted to weigh in.
Yeah, so, I guess it's a little bit different. Music is also a performing art, but I'm an education focus. So, I guess I can segue into something else I wanted to talk about with regard to that.
Please.
So I kind of view honors overall as something that's trying to prepare you to be an empowered citizen. You really get the big focus on this in honors version of PS 1010, political science, where it's all about how you can tangle with institutions and then don't view them as a massive thing with inertia, like a colossus that you can't budge. Just figure out how to get access to it and slowly make things happen. So as a music education major specifically, one of the things that I've had to do is it's called Music in the Schools 1, It's this course where you're learning how to teach music, basically. And I wanted to do an honors option with this, and I noticed a need on campus. The music ensembles that are offered include choral organizations for non-music majors. There's a band for non-music majors. There was not an orchestra. So I wanted to make this change. So for the honors option that I did with that, I founded the Campus Strings Orchestra. I recruited like 20 to 30 people to participate in it. That's counting also my fellow music education majors I brought in as student conductors. And then what's really interesting is the follow-up to this. Because there was this need and I was able to demonstrate that the campus needed this opportunity for people to participate in the arts. And with my experience from PS 1010 as to how to grapple with institutions, in the process of like working with a professor, we created a course proposal. We submitted this to the department chair. He's on board with it. He's going to pass this on to whatever advisory board to review the course proposal. And the hope is, and it seems very probable, that Wayne State's arts offerings will be expanded in fall 2019 by the offering of the 0 credit or 1 credit campus string orchestra.
Very cool. And I should also mention, for those of you who don't know about the new Hillberry Gateway complex, we are about to we have broken ground on a multi-million-dollar new arts complex in connection with the Hillberry Theater and the College of Fine Performing and Communication Arts. We have time for a few more audience questions, but I want to emphasize that when that's done and when I wrap things up here, it's not over, because at that point we're going to have an opportunity to mix and mingle. Those of us with name tags with yellow ribbons on the bottom of them, we work here in the Honors College. You feel free to come up, ask us questions while you're getting more food and refreshments. And also there is a resource fair just out these doors across the hall. There are people there from the Dean of Students office, from student organizations, various departments around campus, and you'll have an opportunity to ask them questions, ask our students more questions one-on-one based upon your specific interests. But we do have time for a few more audience questions.
So I heard you guys talking a lot about the honors community lifestyle. How much connection do you get with the university campus itself, like student life in general, and like how's the general student life here at the university?
So I do not live on campus. I think most people don't. I mean, a lot of people do, but the majority is a commuter campus, so most people don't live on campus, but that doesn't mean there isn't an opportunity for you to meet people. I spend a lot of time in the library, and people always think of the library as like this hush-hush place. I'm talking about the UGL, which is the undergrad library. We have several libraries. So I spend a lot of time in the UGL studying, and I spend a lot of time building communities within my classes. You know, we make group chats, we meet up for study groups, and there isn't an exclusive, like, okay, you can only study over here, you can only build communities over here. Like, the entire second floor is devoted to collaborative learning and spaces where you can talk in the library and you can have study groups, but you can have it in a focused way that you don't have distractions. Like in the student center, it's hard to get stuff done, so I don't like studying in the student center. But I'm also a tutor, which helps me build communities because to be a tutor, you have to have gotten, I think, better than a B in the class that you're tutoring. So even if the people aren't honors, they're like-minded individuals about the classes that they're taking and about their focus. So finding communities with people who you're working with is also important, even if you don't find like-minded people in every single class you take.
The Director of Enrollment Management just whispered in my ear, you might want to clarify that 10,000 students live around campus. They don't all live on campus, but around campus. So we're not as much of a commuter school as we were when I came here in 1998. But thank you for that answer. I saw somebody else who wanted to. Suresh.
Just to build off that, the Honors College at Wayne State University is also, it's in the undergraduate library, and it also has like a collaboration area. So I spend a lot of time studying in honors, and that way you can like meet people who are also honors. You can like bring your friends in and you can all study there. And also just being an honor student, like, and doing extracurricular activities, even if you're not on campus, like if your meeting starts at 6 p.m., you're gonna be on campus until then, right? So you'll be hanging around, you'll be able to check out different buildings, different opportunities on campus. So being an honors student just kind of gives you the opportunity to work in the honors college and also connect with a lot of extracurriculars.
I would also emphasize that students in the university honors program have to do 28 of their 120 credits for graduation as honors credits, but most of your courses are going to be courses around the university with a wide variety of students. So while we provide this more intimate academic community, we also prepare you to interact with a wide variety of people across the university because you are interacting with people of a wide variety across the university. I'm going to ask for almost like a quick lightning round for any sort of last bit of advice you have for prospective students as they're about to start their college career. But before I do that, I want to emphasize that if you have more questions, don't walk out and say, oh, they didn't answer my question. Come during the resource fair portion, talk to us and ask those questions then, because we really do want to talk to you. But I want to ask you, we're going to wrap up by asking you to say a bit of advice for prospective students.
Okay, Wayne State is a really good place to use your professors, so make sure you use them. Like, everyone is always available, well, every professor at least, is always available to come and speak to you or see you during their office hours, and they really want you there because half the time they're sitting there in their office hours and they're just sad that no students come to see them. So use that to your advantage. You never know what could happen from just being in their office.
Make me sound like the Maytag repairman, just waiting for something to happen. Okay.
For me, definitely take advantage of opportunities and resources, and don't be afraid to try new things. Like, coming as a freshman, I was kind of closed-minded. I didn't want to do certain things, but then as a student, and especially as an honor student, you will have an open mind. So just feel free to try something you wouldn't think you normally would.
I'd like to make a statement more about Wayne State rather than advice. One of the things that I love the most about Wayne State is that there is such a religious tolerance. There was a study, and this was 2016, so I don't know if it's still valid. We were not just the most diverse school in Michigan. We were the most diverse school in the nation. And that is saying something. It really is. So, I was at a student organizational meeting, and the clock struck 5 p.m., and 2 young men pulled out their rugs and they started to pray. And no one blinked. No one looked twice. It wasn't, there wasn't this oh my goodness, they shouldn't be doing that in public. There is such religious tolerance, acceptance, and interest. And I think that's really important, especially in this day and age with politics and strong opinions. So if you want to be immersed in other cultures and to really learn to respect and understand, this is the place to be.
It's interesting. Yay. All right. I do think that's a big part of what makes this place special. And again, as I travel around to other places, I have people often asking me, do you have a lot of these conflicts on your campus? And I'm like, not those kinds of conflicts, for a few reasons. One, our people tend to be very friendly, as Jasmine pointed out. Another is we are very diverse and we're used to being diverse. And the third is that this is the kind of place where people just kind of they've got things to do. We're going to roll up our sleeves. We've got stuff to do. We don't have time to be worried about who said what on Twitter and who's doing what somebody else is wearing. And so, no, we've got stuff to do. So I think it really is. I'm glad you emphasized that because I think it's a really important part of the spirit of the whole university.
I would just say that if you're thinking about any place to go to college and if you've applied nationally, Detroit is a very good place to be right now for all professions. There's a very strong revivalist imagery that's going on that I'm sure everyone's heard about, but just being a student in this city for me has really helped me realize that that's really true. And if there's anyone that's trying to do something really great, then I think that Wayne State or really just anywhere in this city at this point in time would be a really good place to try and change our world, basically. It's very possible. You can do a lot of really big things here, and there's that space for you as a young person. So should try that out if you're wanting to do that. I don't know. I love Detroit. It's great.
Thank you.
No matter what you want to do or where you want to go, whether it's Wayne State or other universities or even trade school or just staying at home, the choices that you make are what is going to be propelling you forward. So it's not the honors college that's going to make you special or make you successful. It's what you decide to do and you taking advantage of the opportunities that are given to you, which Detroit has an abundance of, the Wayne State has an abundance of, the honors college has them. They're everywhere, but it's up to you to, get up and go do that.
And, playing off of that, don't procrastinate. Like, I'm a huge procrastinator, and it has hurt me in so many ways. And just kind of saying to yourself, okay, I need to actually do this or I'm not going to get it done. And making that choice to say, do I really need 30 more minutes in bed, or can I get up and write that paper that I've been needing to write for 3 weeks now? Like, just getting started, because the hardest part is just getting up and doing it. So kind of saying, okay, even if I really don't want to do it, I just need to do it because I know I need to do it. Because after college, your parents aren't going to be on you saying, you need to get up and do your homework. Like, you can just not do your homework and your professor won't stop you, your parents won't stop you. You're the only thing between you and nothing. So, your success is in your own hands, and go get it.
Thank you.
Well, with regard to procrastination, one thing you can do, believe it or not, you get an assignment and it's due next week, get started on it that afternoon. It's possible. Yeah. So, big advice, you want to find friends. It's not all about drilling down on your hard work and stuff. So the day before classes start, or maybe it's 2 days, whatever, it's called Festival. It's this massive student organization fair. I don't know how many hundreds of tables there are all over campus. You can walk for hours. The point is you'll find a group of people of similar interest, and you can make friends with them. Yvonne made that point about religious tolerance. So I'm the president of the Jewish Student Organization. There's another honors student, Ravina Amada, who's president of the Sikh Student Association. I was super privileged to moderate a panel discussion recently with those two organizations, also the Ahmadiyya Muslim Student Association and CREW, a Christian group, all brought in religious experts for this discussion on building community. I was just geeking out because such smart people saying such smart things. I'm really committed to having more of this happen. It's also no accident that this is where the Detroit Center for Civil Discourse has just started up. And they're doing a Wayne State Civil Discourse Fellowship starting next year. Particularly, they want to have equal numbers of Jewish and Muslim students, but also others for discussions about things that often aren't discussed, but in a civil manner. Like I said at the beginning, this is the place to be to interact with people who have different ways of thinking.
Thanks for that. Before we open it up to our small resource fair, and you're right, the one at Festival is like 100 times the size of what you're going to see in this little room. In fact, I'd encourage some of you to stay back and get some food, because the room that we have, the resource, this is like a mini resource fair, very small, but if you come to Wayne State, do take advantage of those opportunities. But before we go to that and the mix and mingle, I have a confession to make. I lied to you about something. I said the best part of being dean is I get to park wherever I want. The best part of being honors dean, actually there are two parts that are the best part. One is I get to work with some of the most amazing faculty and staff around the university. And with the faculty and the staff at the Honors College raise their hands, some of you are standing around the back there. Okay, let's thank them for helping put this together today. And the second really cool part about my job is I get to work with the most awesome students at the university, and I want to thank them for participating today. Thank you very much. And with that, I welcome you to come ask us questions, get some food, explore a little bit. Thanks so much for coming.